and we don't want to be too depressing, but, Cam, you did want to talk about this. Derek Boogaard, the 10-year anniversary of his passing, the hockey enforcer, big guy, 6'7", 265. I remember when he passed away because he's basically the exact same age as me. And so whenever somebody dies that's your same age, I think we're a month apart. Yeah, he's June 23, 1982. It just makes you think. And obviously CTE, around that time you had a couple other enforcers that also passed away. And it was just
Wade Belak, Rick Rippon.
Rick Rippon, yep, Wade Belak. And just a crazy story, and it ties into the whole opioid issue. He was drinking with the oxycodone and kind of everything that's going on these days. But I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on the 10-year anniversary.
Well, first and foremost, Derek Boogaard is one of the toughest, scariest human beings ever to step on the ice. You want to look him up, he's knocked guys out. He was huge. He had a powerful punch. He broke guys' faces. Like, he was horrifying. But he's a really good guy, like a really good guy. I actually called his brother Aaron, who's another tough guy that played in the league, and I don't want to get too into too many things, that detail stuff, but Aaron was there at the time, and it just we talked for like 2 hours the other day, and I'm going to probably get him on the podcast here soon and really go over this whole thing. But this he had opioid problems, guys. He went to New York. He got on them, and man, I'm telling you, like, you get injured, and all of a sudden you're like, what are these things? Sometimes it hits people differently. Like, my parents they never got into it. My cousin, like, they hit different people different ways. It hit me like you're in a euphoric high, and it takes away pain and things like that. But once you get addicted to them, your body just absolutely craves them. It's the most horrible, horrific thing in the world to go through. And it makes you depressed, and not to mention you're fighting guys and you're getting caught. Like Matt Carkner buckled him, like he got caught in his jaw. It was in New York. He signed a big contract there. He was dabbling in painkillers all the time. I just had Aaron Voros on the podcast too, who was his teammate. I mean, they go into detail about what really went down and things like that, but. It was a sad day, but it was a wake-up call, man. It was an absolute wake-up call. And it's like there's other ways to deal with pain than these stupid little white pills that will control your life. And if you eat too many of them, you'll be done. My mom is listening right now. My mom and dad, they saw it happen to me twice, and they were right next door when it happened. My neighbors had to come. It was the worst thing in the world. You don't know. And sometimes you get off of them. And you're drinking, and all of a sudden you're like, I need to you. It just craves that you crave that feeling. Like I want those. You make a phone call because listen to me, just like I did. Derek Boogaard, I could make a phone call and have somebody drop off anything you want at 3:00 in the morning on Christmas Eve. Like that's how you do it. Like they'll do that for you. Everybody wants to please you. Not to mention you're giving $500. So sometimes you're down and out, and maybe you're off of them. And all of a sudden you're boozing, and you're like, no, I know where my stamina is with this. And you just take too many, and your body shuts down. It's a horrible thing, but it was a wake-up call for everybody, man.
So if we're going back 10 years or so, because we obviously know so much more about opioids now, and I'll get into this documentary, but I'm wondering, so back then when guys are taking them for pain, are you thinking that they're more okay than they actually are, or could you tell right off the bat, whoa, I mean, these are very addicting?
You have fun with them off the bat. Are you kidding? You have absolute. I remember getting these, we call them nanners, a little yellow 10 Percocets, 10 milligrams. And, you get a couple, and you're like, dang, and you're just up, and you're doing whatever, and then, so you have fun with them. Like you had the money, even if you weren't prescribed, you could just, everybody, find whatever the hell you want. If you got cash, like, people want to, again, they want to help you, and so it's fun. And then you get into it a little more, or you don't go to the bathroom for 4 days. You're like, what is going on with me? And then that's another story. Because you get clogged up, man. Like, you could drink almost so much water. It dehydrates you so bad. To where if you're eating steak and stuff all night like an athlete would do, sorry, booze cruising all over the place, you're putting all this stuff, it's not going through you because the painkillers clog you up, your stomach up so bad to where you're like, I haven't gone to the bathroom in 2 days. Oh, my God, dude. I mean, it's just endless stuff, and then you start craving them. And then you get to a point where you're so addicted Or your grandmother just broke her foot or her hip and she had surgery. Oh, really? Oh, let me go see her. And you digging through her pantry. I mean, dude, you just think about it all the time. So then it controls your life. Dude, we don't have enough time, Charlie Marlowe. Me and you need to just sit down and I'll tell you all about it, dude. And I'll get it. But he was addicted. A lot of guys have been. I've had guys on Kevin Steve. Tons of Sheldon Surrey was taking 50 at a time on the golf course. Sheldon Surrey, we just had talks about it. He's like, it's same damn thing. It's crazy, and he's not even an addict. He's like, he just. Some guys that don't even drink, Charlie, will get on him and they're like, oh my God, I can't get off. And they're just a healthy guy and stuff. It's not just for addicts. It hits guys in different ways.
Oh, 100%. Rex Chapman, the former NBA player who's big on Twitter, he said the same thing, that he was not a user, didn't drink, and they basically ruined his life and his marriage and all of his money. Devin Alexander, we talked about here, never drank, never did anything drug-wise, was using it to overcome an injury, and you get hooked like this. So I'm watching this documentary. It's called The Crime of the Century, HBO Max. It's a 2-part series, 2 hours each. A lot of it, the first episode is about Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family. And basically, and I'll just kind of break it down because it's really good. Anybody listening should go watch it. But so they create this drug, obviously, OxyContin. And it's made, and they think it's a drug that can be for cancer patients who are terminally ill. So you take it at the end of your life when you have very severe pain. Okay. But then the company is thinking, okay, well, if it's only for cancer patients at the end of their life and they're going to pass away, that's not a money-making drug. And so they basically did this full court press to get the FDA to be allowed to prescribe OxyContin for general pain, right? And there's even this part where they're able to sit down and kind of write the review with somebody from the FDA, and the company is allowed to be involved in that. And so they're able to have OxyContin be prescribed for general pain. So this guy with the FDA then leaves his job, works somewhere else for a year, and then he ends up working at Purdue on a salary of $370,000 a year. So you can kind of not connect too many dots. It's not too difficult to say this guy that helped write the review, right, basically to allow this to be prescribed for general pain, then works for the company a year later. And the fact that they were trying to play down all the time its addictive nature, and you could see that people are lining up at these pill shops, these pharmacies. It was big in Florida with all the organized crime, and it's people driving from out of state. I mean, people driving 4 or 5 hours because they know they can go to these certain spots and get as many pills as they want.
Doctor shop, man. That's what you do.
That's the thing. And here's the thing, and I'll let you go after this because I'm sure you have a ton more, but this was also interesting. So the second part is about this other company called Insys. And this was more focused on the doctors, where they found the bad doctors. They found the bad doctors, or the ones that were so greedy that they would basically pay these guys ridiculous amounts of money to give speeches. So it was technically on the up and up because they're going to pay him these exorbitant sums of money to give speeches. However, it was known that whatever we're paying you, you better write scripts for double the amount of our drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
And if you don't, you're not going to get the speaking fees. So it was this whole top-down, and it wasn't just Purdue, although they really created it, and Insys was another company. And these companies, they've been fined and all that, and Purdue is bankrupt, but this family took their money out. There was an $8 billion fine, which will never get paid because they declared bankruptcy a couple years ago, and the value's only worth $1 billion, and all their creditors are after that money. And again, the family found ways to pull money out of the company, but it just shows you, guys, from the top down, this was such a scam, and then you realize that, 500,000 people die from opioid overdose in the last decade or so. Like, how many people were affected by this absolute greedy scam?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. They work. And if they tell you to take 2 a day, 1 every 6 hours after eating a big meal, and don't drink on it, and just let it ride out, whatever your injury is, back, whatever, your surgery, then you're okay. But it hits people so differently, or it's just like the devil tapping on your shoulder, like, you like that, don't you? Now, again, a lot of people it makes you feel like you're sick, so they're like, oh, I'm just doing it just so the pain doesn't. Then they wean themselves off. Would they do it the right way? But, dude, you know, I'm 21 years old and I got a shoulder injury and I'm out for months, and you know, I'm sitting in I don't have any responsibilities, and I have a bunch of money. And I have a huge TV with Assassin's Creed, the first game, and I'm like, oh, and I take those things, and you get into this like zone, and then I don't even look at my phone. I just like zone out and just play video game, and all of a sudden you want to do that again because you're just in a fantasy world because you have 190 of them or whatever they are, and no one's checking on you. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's my fault. But it's still like it's set up. It was a setup for failure.
Absolutely, and this is from these big pharma companies. They also get into this in the second episode, where even a lot of your street pushers, right? These guys, and I can see how it's hard to feel sorry for them, but they're also caught up in it, right? Because the ones dealing it, they also are addicted. And they go on the black market and try to get fentanyl from China and ship it over. And it's because, you know, they get involved. There's as many stories about the people who were affected and they lost loved ones and their families, but then the people dealing to them, it was the same story. They were normal folks until they got addicted, and they got caught up in the fact where, okay, I can no longer afford these pills, so now I have to turn to street drugs and heroin because it's cheaper.
That's right.
Charlie. That's the vicious cycle. Is that even the distributors and dealers on the streets, they're also addicted to this stuff.
So a little balloon knot, a little we were talking about a little dime bag. We were talking about that you used to buy in school, Charlie. Now they sell it for gas at the gas stations. But now, why spend? Because it's so overpriced, these pills. But now they'll get this little black tar heroin, this little balloon knot, and sell it for $10-12, and you could snort it, you could smoke it, and you can inject it, but you don't know what the hell's in it. At least you know exactly what that little nanner yellow 10 on it that's Percocet. You could type it in the pill finder on your computer and know exactly what the hell it is, man. Trust me, I've done that a million times, and you just know where you're at. But this heroin, dude. It's cut up with all kinds. They step on it, man. They cut it up with nasty-ass stuff, just like Coke, just like all that stuff. These guys down, when they ships up here, they just step on it, make a little bit more money, and these kids overdose on that because it's cheap. It's cheap. But, hey, can I say one thing before we go on that?
Absolutely.
You guys, okay, you can get on different things, honestly, guys. If you could cold turkey that son bitch and have people buy you, try that as much. But Suboxone helped me. It did. It made me blah, and I should have got off quicker than I did, but that was a bitch to get off of, too. But it stopped me from it regrouped my body, although my killer wasn't in me, and your sex, I just weren't, I was just blasé. I mean, I'm getting detailed on your show today, by the way.
Our show.
Our show. Good, it is our show. But Suboxone did help. If you're that deep like I was, but if you can go cold turkey and get past those 3 days, baby, and you have support, and you're drinking water, and all of a sudden you start working out again and get your endorphins naturally going, that's the best option.
I threw out a couple Twitter polls, and I was kind of surprised by the results a little bit. Now, I could have been more specific, but here's what I put out there. I said, I'm asking out of general curiosity, so no need for warring punditry. I didn't want all the political takes, which you're going to get anyway. But I said, if Busch Stadium was open to full capacity in June, are you going? You got 595 votes. 78% of people said yes. 22% said no. That was about what I expected, okay? Next poll. This was only a couple hours ago, so less votes. I say, final poll question of the day, I promise, so I don't annoy all you people. Another hypothetical. Now, we know this is not going to happen, okay, but I just was curious. If the Blues had a June playoff game at Enterprise Center and full arena capacity was allowed while wearing masks, because that's the rule, would you go? 311 votes, 85% said yes. That actually surprised me because I thought the indoor versus outdoor thing would be the deciding factor, and more people actually said they would go. Now, maybe it's because that's a playoff game.
I think that might have something to do with it.
But still, yeah, I was a bit surprised by that.
Look, we said this months ago. I think that if they would have opened it up months ago, even when it was kind of crazy, people would have showed up. I just think that people are divided on the whole. the craziness of it, the scary, like the scare factor of this whole thing. I think people are completely, especially in Missouri. So if they opened it up and said mass, like that place would be jam packed. Like it just would. I see people everywhere doing things without. I mean, everywhere you look, go to a restaurant, like they're everywhere. People are so. Yeah, man. I just think that. I complained about it a little bit yesterday, Charlie, about just like, maybe they made the announcement, and like, oh God, and the Cardinals, I know it's open. We still haven't got the breakdown of that whole thing, and I know people are like indoors, outdoors, but what does that exactly mean? You're closer, like you're still close when you're sitting next to people in Busch Stadium, like you're still close when you're walking down that everywhere, like you're close to people. You have a mask on, so just anyway, the point is, like it was just kind of a buzzkill. That they're like, we got more people coming. How many? 900. Like, okay. Meanwhile, other teams have almost 10,000 and probably going to be jump way higher than that, and they're going to get a little bit of revenue back. And it's not like the revenue thing. You have to think about that. I'm sorry. Like you're a mid-market team spinning up to the cap every damn year, and you haven't had revenue. Not much of it. Yeah, do you think that Stiefel Center on the side, the helmets are like banking it in? I said this earlier too. I never liked, and I played over in Europe, and you had McDonald's on your pants, and this, that, and the other, and you get free McDonald's, and this, that, whatever. But I didn't care. And people complain about, I don't want this to be a clown show. They need to make money. Do you want people to stay here? Do you want them to spend to the cap? Well, you have to find revenue. And so that's why it kind of drives me crazy a little bit, because we just don't know the exact breakdown on why this is this and that is that.
It's interesting. I just saw a note today, and I wrote this down, guys, in a story. $3.6 billion missed by the NHL in ticket sales and in-arena purchases this year.
3.6 B?
Yep.
Overall for all the teams?
That was the article. That's an enormous amount of money. And
look at Canada. That's why. That's a big chunk up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, what did you say, 80-24, the baseball game? Something like that was your poll? I forget exactly.
I think it was 78-22 baseball, and it was 85-15 hockey.
There's a couple things here. One, I get the 20 that don't want to go, but there's people who still have issues that can't be exposed to it. I get that, right?
Yep.
The other side of it is, guys, people need to get out. People need to, see the sunlight, and people need to, socialize with one another. It is becoming an issue for a lot of people, and it is no way. Now, I'm not saying for or against, but it is no way to go and try and live your life where you're just locked up somewhere and you can't do anything.
In fear.
It's not a way to live your life.
How about this?
You age, Jim.
Yes,
you age that way. And just like when you're depressed all the time, it causes cancer. I believe that. I don't know if that's but you age.
Your body's not active. You're just sitting around,
Your brain.
I get both sides. I really do, because I'm a person. I have a wife who has a disease that if she gets it, it's not going to be good. And she's been vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. Then I read, and everybody around us has been, and we're doing all the precautions, and thank God she's been safe. But then, guys, I read a story like, let's just say Jake Wallman's story, where you go, well, he's been vaccinated, he had it, and he's got it again. I don't know what that means. I just know that would be bad in my household, so I got to take the precautions. Not everybody else has to, and they need to get out.
And so this is just 9 minutes ago from the White House tweeting it out, and it's from the CDC, but it is big news. It's a game changer. Big news from the CDC. If you're fully vaccinated, this is coming from the White House, you do not need to wear a mask, indoors or outdoors in most settings. We've gotten this far. Whether you choose to get vaccinated or wear a mask, please protect yourself until we get to the finish line. So I understand this is for fully vaccinated folks, but still, when the CDC and the White House is coming out here and saying, if you're vaccinated, this is indoors and outdoors. Mm-hmm. You don't have to wear the mask. That's pretty big news.
How do they do that, though? They're going to card you?
Well, you do have your card.
It's guidance.
When you get vaccinated.
Okay, so you would have to show that probably?
I mean, you can. I don't know. You can have a picture of it on your phone. I don't know how they would do that, really.
Well, yeah,
but it's possible. That's one possible way.
That's cool, though. That's a good. Yeah, that's great.
That's all good news,
the other day,
right?
though. Yeah, but just the other day, didn't I hear that the kids still need to wear it when they're outside in 100-degree weather and stay 6 feet apart? So I guess that's all. That was like 3 days ago. But why? So Canada's not there yet either. Like,
I don't know what the deal is with Canada. That's a whole nother thing that I can't. I really can't. I mean, and then we're hearing kids now, 15 and older can start getting vaccinated. So I mean, and now parents got to make that decision.
And that's right. Right. Well, Jim, you just made a great point, and you told a personal story, which I think everybody should understand. And that's my whole thing with COVID. I'm not this person who's living every day in fear and totally changing my life. Now, have we all had to change our life significantly? Yes, the last year. Absolutely. And could I be one of those rare people who's healthy and get it and something bad could happen? In theory, yes. And I think we know the numbers on if that could happen. My thing with COVID is, yes, I don't want to give it to anyone who it could really do some bad things to, whether that's your parents, whoever it is.
Right.
Somebody at school, somebody at work, grandparents, all that. And then also, let's be real. If you get it, even if you're healthy and relatively asymptomatic, it's a huge monkey wrench in your life. Whereas I probably can't go to work now at Fox 2 for a couple weeks. Or here, you guys all got to go home. Yeah. Or you got to space out, right?
When that sucks.
Easy for Cam. But, my daughter probably can't go. I know she can't. To her school or daycare for 10 days. They might have to shut that school down, actually, for 10 days. And heck, now if your daughter has the sniffles, you're just wondering. I mean, that's kind of where we live right now. With you're just thinking everything is COVID.
You mentioned two things. Not to mention, if your daughter has the sniffles and she's in school or a public place where people are around, everybody's looking at her. Like, what do you got? What do you do? I mean, maybe not your daughter, but like, I know if somebody sneezes next to me, I'm like, oh god, and I do that too. And it's like, I gotta get away from everybody. And I don't mind that, but it's probably tough on kids at times. And who knows? Maybe the kids don't even put it together at school. But I haven't even hugged my parents, honestly. And my mom got it. Then I started able to hug. I go there all the time. Like, Charlie, I call you on the way there when I'm going through the buffalo roam where the guy has a buffalo farm. I call you all. And I go to my parents and I sit back and I sit outside with the dogs and I talk to them and stuff like that. But I haven't hugged them. And it's just, I know it's corny, but it's like now, like they're vaccinated. I don't know. It's a nice thing. Little things like that add up is my point. And things are starting to come together and it puts a smile on my face.
Right. And that's my whole thing this whole time. I understand that people have aligned on both sides and a lot of people can't give in either way. I do think, although I have my own opinions, but I've tried to stay pretty close to the middle. And my thing too is it's out of a respect for other people, because you never know what other people are going through or their family, whether it's asthma or what type of maladies they may have or their parents. Like my dad, for example. My dad is he was born in 48, so he's about to be 73. Not in the greatest shape, has the CPAP machine, right? So I mean, that's the type of guy where you don't want him to get COVID.
Right,
I mean, really.
No, neither.
Right, that's my whole point. Is like, I'm not living my life in daily fear. It's just more of a respect for other people. And I think if everybody had a little more of that, and honestly on both sides, and I say that not just ripping on anybody if they're walking down the street without a mask, or the other side, right? Why are you wearing that mask? You know what I'm saying? Like, just live your life and just don't bother people.
And shut up. Yeah, exactly. Just live your and mind your own business. If anybody's intruding your business, get it. But again, we all say, I've told you this. I go to but I see these stories though of these elderly couples over in Europe or something, and they finally reconnect, and there's like a window in front of them, and they haven't seen each other. 85 years old, and they had to be away for 2 years because of COVID, and they finally get to see each other through glass, and it's like, what?
Right?
I'm like, why would you? I'd be like, I'm not leaving my partner I've had for 70 years. I have to go quarantine without her. I'll take the risk. I'm not leaving my wife. Like, that is so sad in so many different ways. And I don't know. Like, again, I did what I had to do, but I went over to my parents still. I'm not going to not see them. I'm not going to not see them. You crazy? Well, the stuff we've gone, I got to see them. But I didn't hug them, and we stood over, in the backyard, and I don't know. But God Almighty, it puts a tear in my eye sometimes, man.
Right. And just overall, COVID sucks. It's not fair to anyone on any level. I'll give you another story. So a guy who's basically like my uncle, my dad's best friend, about the same age, so he was 71, 72, and he passed away from a heart attack recently. So it had nothing to do with COVID, but I also just think about, it's sad that the last year of his life, because he was taking it very seriously, right? Mm-hmm. He had a trach. His wife's a nurse. So for the last year of his life, he was not doing anything, right? He wasn't seeing his friends, wasn't seeing his family. He's got kids, he's got grandkids. And that's just another terrible part of this is he died of something not related to COVID. But the last year of his life, he didn't get to have the normal birthdays and Christmases and whatnot. And there's a lot of people in similar situations where that's where, at this point, with the numbers going down, in my opinion, with the vaccination numbers going up, we can't live our lives like this forever. You only get so many years around, to go around the earth.
I know you got to
Sun, Earth, Moon.
Dude, listen. If right now, if this broke out again, some kind of this different kind of virus that's connected, whatever, and they said you have to get away from your wife for a year, and so, I mean, would you agree to that?
No.
I mean, Charlie, there's no way in hell you would rebel like no other. Like, that's horrifying. I'd be like, I'll rather risk it. Put us both in a bubble together. I'm not leaving her. Like, it's unbelievable, man. I don't know. The crazy talk. Sorry, Jimmy. Would you like? If you can't see her, it's just too dangerous. You can't see your wife.
I can tell you.
Oh, come on.
We've kind of had to separate for about 10 months.
Oh,
geez. She's had to live with family members because I've had to come in back and forth to keep a job. Right. I get to see her, but we're not in the same house, and hopefully we're getting to that point where we can all get back to the normalcy. But I've been through that, and it's not cool. But here's the other side of it. If it were to go bad because I brought it in, can you imagine what that would be like to deal with the rest of your life? So you just gotta fight through it and discipline yourself. I mean, it's not cool for me, but it's also not cool for, let's say, it's people that are in their 20s. Okay, they're not going to get the same effect that those that are vulnerable. Those people should be able to live their lives a little bit too. I mean, they're losing a year of their life, just like everybody else is. So it's just you got so many things on each side. So
and that's where I think we all knew a little bit about your situation, Jim, but I didn't know that for 10 months, as you said, that you haven't been living with your wife. And I just think people need to know stories like that, though. Again, because I get it. We all have opinions, and people are too locked into their politics. I understand all that. It's not healthy, but it is what it is. But I think if you hear people telling stories like that on both sides, by the way, on both sides, you'll understand that you have to put yourself in other people's shoes sometimes, right? And you don't know what other people are going through.
No matter what, everybody's got something they're dealing with.
Something different. I completely agree. And I couldn't imagine having to do that. At least you get to go in there and see her at times, and you get to work and do this and that. I just think if you're an older couple like that, it's just like I don't know, man. Like it's like
it's something you never planned for this one, right, guys? I mean,
it's like we're
situation.
85 years old. So anyway, we don't need to be that depressing. It's all good. It's all opening up. That's a good thing, guys.
That's a positive.
That's a good thing, baby. Let's go.
We're getting close.
Except for Enterprise Center, of course. They're going like 3 people at a time, but that's fine.
Hey, with all that said, I don't know what the capacity is in Colorado because I'm kind of assuming the Blues are going to get Colorado. Regardless if it's road or home, it'll be pretty cool for the Blues to go in there, Cam, and get some energy just from the visiting crowd, won't it?
Yeah, anything. I'm telling you, if the place is packed, I don't care if they hate you or boo you. I'm going through warm-ups, Bucky, spinning the stick around. People are chirping you. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then you fight their guy. Oh, dude, yes. Show me, give me some. Stop with the cardboard cutouts. That's it's degrading. Get it out of here.
They don't make any noise.
Oh God, it's like people like. It's like Charlie Marlow sitting there and next to it's
hey.
I love you, but it's like they're like, what is going on here? Put some people in there, spread them out, do what you got to do. But if you have a little bit of that like atmosphere that they haven't had any emotion, they had to just create their own emotion. And now if you just have a little bit and it goes and goes. This is going to be – people are going to go – they're going to run each other over, and it's going to be so high impact. I cannot wait.
So we know Blues are going to have 5,000 first 2 rounds. So Vegas had about, 7,500, 7,600. And I'm just reading this article from 9 News.
More than that.
Right, in Denver. But so they were at about the same spot as the Blues. They were at 4,050. Remember, the Blues were at about 4,100. They're going up to 7,750. So whether the Blues play, and we do think it's going to be Colorado at this point, but if it's Colorado or Vegas, you're going to have a bit of a difference there of about, a half. I mean, the Blues are going to have 5,000, and Avalanche and Vegas are both going to have 7,500 to 7,700-ish.
Did they say, hey, here's why?
No. Every place is different.
It's different
right?
states.
Everybody's got a different rule. Again, that adds to the frustration of it, right?
That's exactly. And I know I keep saying that, and it's like I'm regurgitating, but it's still like the number one. Like, but why though? I mean, I just would love to be in the meetings and hear the health officials talk to the owners and stuff like that, or whatever. How it goes in the NHL and say, this is why in Missouri that because this happened and that. They just don't do it.